Adolfo Walsh,
Inés Nocetti, José
José
Daniel Broncel,
Acevedo,
Carmen María Carnaghi,
Patricia
Heidi
Carolina
Rosa
Rodríguez,
Cedillo, Juan
Ricardo
Carlos
Díaz,
Vera,
Ángel
Norma
Mario
Susana
Sevilla de
Fantini,
Bani,
Carlos
Marcos
Raúl Parga,
Ana María Castillo, María
Car-
Carrieri,
Silvia
Roberto
Peralta
María
Correa,
Cadena, Victoria
María
Porta,
Carlos
Sergio Guillermo
Villamizar,
Prado, María Cristina
José
Córdoba,
Liborio
María Corsi,
Orote,
Néstor Omar Repeto, Eduardo
Gertrudis
Raimundo
Marta
Rey, Manuel
Clase,
Zoilo Reyes.
Claudia Poblete.
There are 8,960 missing people, or desaparecidos, that never returned to Argentina and that have never been found to this day. Many of the people that disappeared were innocent and had no clue of the activities of the left-wing parties. The people that were captured ranged from trade unionists, students, journalists, Marxists, liberals, teachers, artists, and writers, and other alleged sympathizers. Also, anyone who protested the disappearances became a target and later went missing.
The president, Isabel Martínez de Perón, was the president in Argentina from 1974 to 1976. She became president when her husband died and was very unpopular because she did not control the political violence and economic crises. As a result, a coup d'etat overthrew Perón in 1976 and the military government took control. These leaders did not use the Constitution, Congress, or the Supreme Court. The major generals were Jorge Rafael Videla, Roberto Eduardo Viola, and Leopold Galtieri. The Dirty War in Argentina was a bit like Nazi Germany because essentially it was a war against various ideas. In Argentina, they wanted to create a country without communism and with family values and Christianity. More recently, the leaders from this time period have been tried and punished for their crimes. Though some have spent time in jail, many were pardoned, to the dismay of many Argentinians who mourn the loss of their countrymen and family. The United States also played a role in the Dirty War. The School of Americas is a military school in Georgia that aims to reinforce democracy while honoring human rights. Military leaders from Central and South America go to learn combat strategies, which they later teach to military personnel in their homelands. The School of Americas is controversial because many people believe that the government of Argentina learned torture tactics with the aid of the United States.
In Argentina, the prisoners were taken to one of 340 concentration camps operated throughout the country. The goal of the concentration camps was to eliminate all political opposition. They were used to obtain information by means of torture, such as electrocution, drowning, and strangulation. Prisoners were detained by police for any suspicious behavior or false accusations. Because they were kidnapped, the government had no records of the missing, and they were hidden from the rest of the world. It was as if they had never existed, and the torture was psychological as it was physical. Pregnant women received no treatment during childbirth, and most of the children born in the camps were kidnapped and adopted by families to remain loyal to the government. The dead were thrown into the ocean or burned. Because of this, most of the bodies were never found or identified.
Many groups fought valiantly and protested the actions of the military dictatorship. The Madres de la Plaza de Mayo marched every Thursday for 25 years for a total of 1,500 Thursdays, ending on January 26, 2006. The Madres carried white handkerchiefs and protested, carrying pictures of their missing children and trying to move the government to take more action in finding their children and punishing the leaders. In the years following the war, many children of the disappeared were raised in secret in other families. Recently, some of these individuals have come to realize their true identities and that their worlds have drastically changed. A DNA analysis proves that these people were kidnapped and their birth parents were killed. This creates a modern controversy because many of the children are faced with an identity crisis when they discover they are the child of a desaparecido.
Manely Ramirez traveled to the United States to attend Harpeth Hall with an organization called American Field Service, an international exchange program aimed to teach students about tolerance, communication, and respect for other countries. Harpeth Hall hosted multiple AFS students during the 1970s, including girls from Germany, Italy, and New Zealand. When Manely was in the United States, she lived with the Tanner family. The Tanners are a family of 5 sisters, and during her time, Manely became the 6th sister as she lived with them here and also traveled with them to New York, Boston, and Gatlinburg. According to people who knew Manely during her time at Harpeth Hall, she was passionate, frank, confident, full of life, and outspoken about her political views. She was an active participant in the French club, Spanish club, student council, and volleyball team while at Harpeth Hall. Manely and her family were very involved in the government, which could have caused her disappearance, as well as those of 6 other members of her family. After the disappearances, Manely's mother dedicated herself to the Madres de la Plaza de Mayo, and her father founded the Permanent Assembly for Human Rights in La Plata. Mr. and Mrs. Tanner worked tirelessly to find Manely after her disappearance, contacting senators and Amnesty International to get information. Harpeth Hall also played a role in Manely's case, as a petition circulated asking a U.S. senator if he could help in any way. Unfortunately, all the efforts were unsuccessful, and the mystery of Manely and her husband remains to this day.
After learning about this period of Argentinian history and the story of Manely Ramirez, we decided that people needed to know more about this horrific period. It shocked us as a class that something this terrible could occur and that we could be so unaware of it, even though thousands of people went missing and never returned. This excerpt of a letter from Manely to the Tanner family reveals her conviction that she died for a cause worth fighting for. We hope that you too will be intrigued by this story and that you will seek to understand more about the world around you through looking back at history. George Santayana once said, "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it."